or just retaliate, or just give revenge on anything. My life matters.
You've got about 170 homicides already in the city this year.
My life matters. That's on the news. And 11-year-old girl was shot and killed. And that's all I saw.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? Hopefully you can hear me. Uh-oh. Yeah, hopefully you can hear me okay. I think it's up and good. So we are here for Free Show Friday. I'm Gary B. Jr., your media consultant. And yeah, we had a couple technical difficulties on the intro. Thanks you guys for your patience, those who were jumping on. I've been using the betas lately because I've been playing around with them. So that's just something that comes along with it, is that sometimes they're not going to be as stable as the main or the full build, but I'm willing to take that risk just so I can make sure I can explain some things to you guys that are coming up that you want to get into as you get to that full release during this beta process. So no worries there. Thank you guys for jumping in, saying you can hear me. Let's see here. Steve Bainey in the house. What's going on, Steve? We got Arthur Sharp Q2G in the house. I think he was, or they were the first. Yeah, Arthur Sharp was the first to jump on, and then K Vaspo, Christopher, welcome, welcome, my friend. Alan Davis, E3I. That sounds like an official, like an action character or something like that, man. That's pretty cool. And then we've got, let's see here, anybody else jump on? Alan Davis is in, Arthur, Ryan Culverwell from Zimbabwe. I got to tell you guys where you're from. Oh, yeah, that's sweet. Welcome, welcome, Ryan. We got South Carolina, Sumter, South Carolina in the house with Arthur. We've got Beaver Dam, Kentucky. Nice, nice, nice. And let's see here. and then South Carolina. Yep, yep. I love it. I love it. Well, I'm joining you guys from the Atlanta area in Georgia in the United States. I'm excited to be with you guys, and we got all kinds of fun stuff going on. All kinds of fun stuff going on. I guess I can turn this on. Let me see what will happen if I do that. All right. Yeah. So I was setting up some different screens. I got a screen back here behind me playing with some things, and then I got a screen over here behind me playing with some other things. Let's see here. Looking forward to my first live, actually. Hey, actually live. I love it, man. I love it. Well, I'm excited to be here with you guys. We got a lot of cool stuff. Like I said, speaking of the actual betas, man, I got to play with this one last night a little bit, and it's unbelievable some of the things that I've noticed with it in terms of just how smooth it runs and things like that. And this is just Free Show Friday is really designed to really give you guys a sneak peek at what's to come and answer questions real time and address things that may come up with you guys. And then as things get finalized and stabilized, I'll try to make YouTube videos to kind of support what's going on. But a lot of the content comes in freshly from Free Show Friday. So if you can jump on live with us, we love it because it's a lot of fun. Like I said, we get to hear some real good questions and hopefully get some real good answers. And if I don't know the answer, I know the man that does. Christopher usually helps out and jumps in as he can. And even others in the community, if there's questions that come up that I may not have an answer to or don't even see, you guys jump in and help each other out. So that's what it's about. We got Sabusi So from South Africa. Welcome, welcome, my friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So let's jump into what's going on so far. Let's see here. This is looking weird. Let me change this around. When it shut down on me, I had to make some, or when it accidentally just cut out, I had to open it back up real quick and get everything started, but it switched all my arrangement of things. So let's go here. You guys should be able to see my screen. And what we're looking at is I'm excited for two things. One, I think last week we announced I made my 200th video. So that was something that's in my control. I love that. My goal at the beginning of this year was to make 200 videos. We accomplished that, which is exciting. We're at 201. I only made one video this week, but it was a long one, as you can see here. And then we're also almost at 2,000 subscribers, which is kind of crazy and cool at the same time. So keep sharing the channel, keep letting other people know about it, that you think it will be a blessing to help them. I'm not that big on trying to grow a big subscriber count as much as I am trying to grow a community of people that are interested. So I really just want people that are seeking this content to subscribe. And if that's you, feel free to jump in. Our goal is to really equip you to understand how to use the tools that are available to you. And this tool itself is one I'm so excited about. I decided to just make obviously 200 plus videos about it because it's completely free. It's fully robust, and it's made with a good cause, a good purpose, and a good mindset in mind to really help you along the way. And it's something you don't really see that combination very often. A lot of times we'll see free software, and it usually comes at the detriment of being good quality. This is a high quality software, still completely free. And then you might see good software that's not free, and people that are doing it are just doing it to try to make a buck, which is fine. In a capitalistic economy in America, for example, that's what we do. We try to make business ideas that'll generate revenue and things like that. And that's not something to frown on all the way. But at the same time, the heart behind something does have a great deal of meaning to God. Like I said, he looks at our heart in everything that we do. And so we can't get over that. I believe that the developer behind this and the team behind this program and the support they give to it is something that is a genuine heart to serve the body of Christ. And that's something I can stand behind. And hopefully you all have experienced that with your connections with the program and anything you've seen, even from me being a part of the community. I want to represent that same heart to understand, hey, this is not about us making money as much as it is about us empowering the body of Christ, empowering churches all over the world. So that is the main goal. So my intro, the reason I tried to make it play right, it didn't play right all the way through this day, but I'm just impressed with what God is doing to get this in the hands of people all over the world. So we got people in South Africa, Nigeria, Indonesia, and the islands, and Australia, and all these different places using this software. And that's no accident. I believe that's just an act and a miraculous work of God to do that. So I'm excited about that. what we've got for this one video that came out this week. It is in the lab. All right. So this is unique. So whenever you see that in the lab, right? So if you see FreeShow Lab in the lab or something like that, it's not designed to be a tutorial, unlike a lot of these other videos. So most of these other videos you're going to see are all tutorials. They're like, hey, learn how to do this real quick, or as quick as possible, at least with some understanding. Whereas this one is more of, I start out with an idea and I just start recording. All right. And so this one, you'll see my thought process in any of the labs. When I go into the lab, it's really just you guys getting a sneak peek behind the scenes. It's not designed to be real, necessarily not designed. I think it's really helpful for those who are seeking how to understand other things to do with Free Show, because I don't really lead you to understand how to do anything as much as I try to accomplish a goal that I set out to do, which is really just mirroring and mimicking what I expect and assume that you were doing as well when you're using Free Show. You're saying, okay, I want to be able to do this. How do I make it work? How do I do it? And you'll go through the same processes that you see me go through here. And maybe this will shed some light on some ideas you already had to try out, or it might spark some interest to dive deeper in and try to figure out some things for yourself as well, right? So that's my main goal. It's not that you'll completely depend and do what I do on this in terms of coming to the end that I came to, but that thought process, it might expose you to a feature that you didn't think about as I'm thinking about things, and vice versa. I think that's something that has come over the time that I've been introduced to the program, or introduced myself to the program, like almost a year ago now, coming up in December. So yeah, we're in December. So it's been about a year that I've been using it. And when I first started using it, it was difficult to wrap my mind around what the scope of this program was. And if you're coming from anything other than Pro Presenter, I think you probably feel me. You probably understand exactly what I'm saying. And so when I got involved from the very first video, the only thing I was doing was discovering how it works and understanding how it works, because I didn't get a tutorial that broke down the different features of it. And so my goal with this channel was to really fill that gap. It was like, hey, I don't see anybody making tutorials. I saw a lot of introductory videos saying, hey, this is a cool program, and it is, but I never saw somebody tell me exactly how to use the program. And that was what I wanted to be able to do, is say, hey, here's how you use it. But at the same time, I'm like you, I'm new to using the program myself. So we just kind of gone on this journey. So here I am a year later, and I'm trying to figure out how to make a transition with sound effects for live production and recording. My very first video, I think, was about like photo editing or something like that, like how to edit a photo in Free Show. And then one of the first most popular was about how to set up your outputs, right? That was a big deal to me, understanding how to set up outputs to where I can have this have an output for the primary screens and then another output for the live streams, and all that kind of stuff was unbelievable to me, because the program I came from didn't support all that, right? And so you may be like that. Now, if you're coming from Pro Presenter, everything in Free Show is kind of like second nature to you. It's just a matter of understanding the new terms and things like that, which I'll make some videos about that in the future, because there are a lot of folks that are using this software that are coming from Pro Presenter now, and I think that they're going to find a lot of familiarity with it. The biggest difference is going to be that it's completely free. Because 99% of what they use, or 100% of most of what people use Pro Presenter for, Free Show can do it. Now, there's, that 0.1% of people that use some extensive features that are not found in Free Show, but that's few and far between from my experience and what I've seen. So I'm excited about the program. These type of videos in the lab, like I said, it's over an hour long. You can skip along. I'll put some chapter markers in there so you can kind of jump to different areas if you get bored, because I'm literally just talking and thinking it out as I go. And so fun videos to make. I'll probably do more of those if you guys like them, if you think it's something that's important for you. It's got 59 views, and I think I released it yesterday. So I'm okay with that. That's completely fine with me. I think what my goal is going to be is to do those regularly, because I've got a lot of ideas for videos, but I don't always go to the lab when I start making it and it doesn't go the way I want it to go or that I expect it to go. I'll just stop and not finish that video until some updates may come out or something like that, right? So this is really just me in the lab and getting some ideas. And then it helps the community, because the developer, Christopher, he looks at those videos sometimes and he might get some ideas on how to improve the program when I run into a roadblock, or when we submit those tickets, obviously in GitHub and things like that. Same idea. All right. So let's see what we got here. We got Steve Bainey saying he's having some trouble adding scripture with a new project, a new section. Highlight the specific verse in the drawer Let me see here. Okay, let's see. Dragging it up doesn't seem to work. Right click, convert to show doesn't seem to do anything. And the convert to show button on the bottom right inserts a slide. Is this the only way? Man, oh man, Steve, we got some things to talk about today because the direction they're going with the scriptures is exciting. So let's see if we can make that be something we talk about real quick here. I'm gonna jump into that and we're gonna come back into some updates here in a second. So what Steve is talking about is an issue of trying to understand how he can manage his scriptures, right? So having trouble adding scripture. So the first thing you want to do when you're adding the scripture, and I got all kind of stuff going on here. Let's see. I'm going to try to shrink this down so it's not as busy. I like to try to keep things organized, and it is organized, believe it or not. I know it doesn't look like it, but this is organized. This is my intro. It's a lot of different parts. I could have made it just one long video, but for me, I'm more interested in figuring out ways to integrate FreeShow into my workflow because I like it so much. Whereas if you are a video editor and you have a video editing team or something like that, what I did in this, I could have easily just made it a 10-minute video, right? And in one point or one day, I may do that. But what I've done is I've made it to where it's a several parts, like it's just slides with several different videos put together because I really wanted to put FreeShow through its paces. So that's what this is that you're seeing here. Now, let me clear that overlay real quick, and we'll just do, yeah, no, we'll just do it. We'll clear it all the way out. All right, so you guys can see the whole screen here. So with the scriptures, we want to go to the scripture tab first. All right. Now here's the deal, Steve. I'm in 1.5.5 beta 1. All right. So this is what you have to look forward to. If you run into some issues, I think this will highlight some of that to some degree, but it's also going to be a little bit different than what you got. So forgive me. I was intending to talk about scriptures anyway, so we'll touch a little bit on it. So what you can do is you can select your verses and you can highlight and you can right click on this and say convert to show. Okay. When you select that, it automatically just brings them up into your show window, the middle window here, and it's a show. I can select that and it automatically shows up for my audience to see the show. All right. If you were in a project, so if I say new project, right, and I'm gonna call this training on the 5th. If I were to right click on the same thing and say convert to show, what it does is it puts it into my project. All right. Now you mentioned that you have sections and things like that. So let's see here with the new project, a new section, you could highlight the specific verses in the drawer and it won't do it. So let's do new section. I'm going to create a new section. I'm going to call this scriptures. All right. And I'm going to put this inside of the section. And if you like me, you like to right click and change the color of your sections. So I'm going to do that. I'll make it green. And so I got my scriptures in this section. If I were to select another set of scriptures and select here, I just held down shift and went to the third verse down and right click, say convert to show, it goes right up under there. All right. And so it does show up. This is in 1.5.5, 1.5.5 beta 1, right? So what I'm doing here is a facet of it. Now your convert to show option here is a button that'll do the exact same thing without you having to right click. Now, if you have a older template, let me pull up one of my older templates here. So I'm gonna go here and let's see here. I'm trying to find a scripture that did not, this one's called scripture animate. All right. So what you might be looking for, Steve, is this setting icon down below me here. So you'll see this here, this got this little capture, like the option settings, right? Scripture show options. If you select that, what I like to see, or what I've used to seeing, I should say, is this maximum verses per slide. I always like to have that be 1 because for me, I like to have 1 verse on each slide. And then this split reference is a facet of making sure that each verse slide has the reference at the bottom is where it's at the bottom is basically how my template is arranged. And then reference on first slide, I like to have that off. But depending on the flow of your services, you might want something like that on. Okay. Now that's the case. When you do that, when you select this and you select convert to show, I'm gonna do the next set of scriptures. I'll just select 1 and or 9, I should say. Then I'll hold shift, select this one. And if I select convert to show, those settings come up with that new template that I created. Okay. Even though it looks kind of funky here. So you might be looking at this portion here and it does look weird, but when you convert it to a show, it should automatically show up. Even if I drag this into a show, if I drop that here, it'll do the same thing. Okay, if I drag it over to my project, it does that based on my settings that I have here. Okay, so for your scripture, Steve, that would be my recommendation. Now, if you're saying, let me see, if I drag this up here, it does the exact same thing. It'll, even if you put it into a show, it should drop in line, but it's based on your settings that you have from this little bottom icon down here on the, I think 1.5.4 version, right? If you're using 5.4 or anything before that, you'll see something very similar for the most part, okay? So he says the right click convert to show and dragging into the show doesn't work for me. I'll try updating to a newer version of FreeShow. And let me know, Steve, which version are you using? I'm curious. Before you update, let me know which version you're using. Because I know 1.5.4, I believe, looks exactly like what I'm just showing you, right? And we'll talk about some updates to 1.5.5, though, to help shed light on that. But hopefully that makes sense in terms of, I just put almost the same verses every time, but to give you an idea of some ways it should work. If it's not working like that, it could be some of your setting options down here in terms of that corner. And that's the only thing I can think of that would cause that. If anybody else in the community has an idea. Okay, so you're on 5.1. Yeah, I would definitely update 5.4. I believe is pretty stable. Let me see here. I was using 5.4 and I loved it. Let's go to releases. All right. So this is where we were going to head anyway. So we're doing some updates. Let's look at here and then, oh, so I was working on some stuff, you guys. So check me out. Check me out. Boom. That's not even where I wanted to go though. Q&A from this week. I'm putting some little, so here's what I wanted to go to. Let's see. Updates on the channel and free show. So free show updates is where we at. So that's my little transition piece that is tied to that video that I just released this week. So I was doing it to integrate it into that tab, like a clear, like a transition, it's not a bumper, but a transition video, or, you know, I don't know what you call it, but I like stuff like that. So that was pretty fun to me. So 1.5.5 is the latest, and that's a beta. But if I go down to 1.5.4, let's see, changing data folder to restricted folder no longer works. Small tweaks, fixed exporting broken, dynamic values breaking the stage display. Those things were all fixed. For me, 1.5.3 was pretty stable. I really liked the features that came with that. So even if you go up to 1.5.3, that's a big deal, because what ended up happening there is it fixed the YouTube error. That was a big deal to me and to many others I know, because I've gotten a lot of questions about that. So that's part of it. And then let's see your scripture selection fixes. You may be running into something here. So I would at least go to 1.5.3, Steve. I'm not sure if that is the issue you were running into, but that could be part of the reason that you were having that issue that you had. If I go here, there was some, let's see, scripture fixes in the beta for 1.5.3 and so forth. So that 1.5.3 was pretty solid. 1.5.4, I would say even more so. And I'm going all the way up here. Let's look at 1.5.5. Okay, beta 1. This is crazy, all right, to me. So new features, NDI groups. What is that? I never even heard of something like that. But now, when you go into your settings, so if I go and I right click on an actual video or output, I should say, we've always had our NDI option. So I got NDI on, it's enabled here. I've got audio on, that's enabled here. But now you got this option to rename the actual NDI output, and you get to make a group. Like, what is that? So I had to do some research, like, what is an NDI group? And basically it's a way for you to narrow down and almost kind of secure your connections to where inputs and outputs, or sending and receiving of an NDI signal, is more direct between devices that are in the same group. And so that's a really, really cool feature that I never heard of before last night. So I had to do some research on that one, but it's a really cool feature where you can actually, you know, break things down into groups. Now, what I have not seen is how to receive things from that group. Like in OBS, maybe there's an update in OBS that I can do that would, let me see, distro NDI, check for update. NDI here. Let me see. Okay, so there is an update in distro. What changed? OBS preferences. Remove distro, clean the wrong, apply. I'm just looking to see if they got anything here about groups. Anybody use groups? Let me know. Let me know. For NDI groups. Fixes issues with newly reworked Windows installer. I'm just looking at some notes here on OBS, so forgive me. All right, so I'm gonna close it out. But this is the first time I've seen it, and it's pretty sweet. So you can do this in between different FreeShow devices, I guess. The computers are using FreeShow or something, but that's like some of the latest and greatest, I think, in NDI technology. So that is new to me. Never used it before, but I can't wait to use it. And then it's got this better modular scripture system. We're going to talk more about this one. I didn't even understand what that meant, but you're going to like it. At least I like it so far. I like what I've seen so far. This is the beta, so there might be some more changes. And then it says upgraded the remote show tablet mode. I have not played with that yet. I'll have to check that out. We may be able to look at that together. I don't know how I'm gonna share my tablet screen though, so I have to figure that out. I may have to just make a separate video about that, or I may set up a separate camera. But to do that, I'll have to step out. So we'll see. I got a camera over here, but it's not showing what I need. So we'll figure that out. All right. And then tweaks. So we got a context menu search by typing. I don't know what that means. So if anybody knows what a context menu is, let me know. I'm curious. Let's see, a suggested slide group in the context menu. A suggested slide group. Don't know what that is. I don't know what the context is, so I have to figure that out. Disabled layers indicator on the output preview. So disabled layers indicator. Let's go back here. Let's see on the output preview. I think it's this little icon. No, what is that? It's like a little dot here. And then it says layers indicator. I don't see a layers indicator here. But I do see this. Remove, maybe it's this. This is the layers indicator. And it says that it was disabled. Oh, the disabled layers indicators are showing up. Gotcha. I'm sorry. Okay, so basically this little icon, it doesn't show up there, but there's a little icon here. I noticed this earlier and I was like, what is that? And basically this is my live stream output. This is a transparent window. You guys can see there, it's got little grid boxes on it. That's what that looks like. And I send that out to OBS, and in OBS, it allows me to do stuff like this, to put overlays over it, right? But the cool thing is, if I look back at this little grid, this little indicator icon, I hover over it, it's saying that these slides are hidden or disabled, and the background layers are disabled. And so it says remove layers. It'd be cool if it's maybe said disabled layers, but that would be my thought, because here it says active, and then maybe you could even make it say inactive. That would be kind of cool too. But it says remove layers are slide and background. And if I go here and I right click, you'll see why it says that. If I right click on this and do style, you'll see here slide and background are disabled or not active. Okay. And so that's why that's there. And it's a really cool feature. I liked it when I first saw it. I was like, oh, that's pretty sweet. So that's cool. And then let's see here, stage set line height for slide text items. Stage, you can set the line height for slide text. What? Okay, let me do something here. My stomach is growling if you guys can hear it, so forgive me. But if I go here and I go to stage and I select this, let's see here, line height. Fine, let me see. I'm just looking to see where I can find that line height. Maybe it's in here, position, padding, position, width, transform, nope, border, nope. Let's see here. Where would I see the line height? Let's see. This is saying stage, set the line height for slide text. Slide text. So this is my slide text, and it says you can set the line height. Let me see if I go to items. It's not here. I would expect it to be here. Let's see here. Keep style. Let's see, text on. There we go. Line height. Boom. So I can change this here. Let's see. I can make it be basically. Got you. So it's like the difference between the space between the lines, right? So I'm gonna put that back. I think it was at 11 by default for me. That's pretty cool. I like that. You can make those adjustments. And then let's see if I select this one, same thing. I can change that as well. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Let's see here. Options to display group shortcuts on slides. Option to display group shortcuts on slides. Don't even know what that means. So let's see an option to display that, to display group shortcuts. If I go here, here's a slide. Let's see here. I see remove group layout, group shortcuts. If I go to edit, the only thing I can think is that it is a, let's see, this is needs to be shrink to fit. It is shrink to fit, but it's kind of getting cut off for some reason. I'm not sure why. That's weird. If I look at that, oh, it's not getting cut off. Okay. Well, no, it is. It is. It is. Maybe not. No, it's not getting cut off. It just looks like it is up here on there. But so it says there's an option to display group shortcuts. Interesting. I'm wondering if it's a, let me go here to this. Background, no. Slide notes, slide template, no. Slide, items, item. My guess is it's a dynamic value, but I could be wrong. Group shortcuts on a slide. Let me see. What is a group shortcut? If I right click in here, change group. I see that option. Change color. Let's see. What's this here? Toggle global groups. That's not it. Let's see here. We're just trying to figure out and find. I'm doing some research. Let's see what we can figure out with that. So let's see if it's a dynamic value. Let's check that out first. I'm checking my notes here. Steve says, thanks. No problem. No problem. Oh, somebody typed something and it went away. So help me out if you guys got ideas, if you got an insight on that. But if I were to add in a text box, let's do items. I'm gonna add a new text box. I'm gonna make this one be at the top just to get it out the way. And I right click in here. If I do dynamic values, let's see, is there such thing as group? Slide group upcoming. Interesting. So there's that. Project. No. Date, month. Metadata? No, it wouldn't be in the metadata. I don't see a group shortcut, but that's something that seems pretty cool. I just got to figure out how to do it. So we'll figure that out. I'm not sure how to do that right away, but there's all kind of cool updates. The biggest one is the scriptures. Let's see, immediate thumbnails should now persist. Okay, that's important. And then change the zip logic to allow files over 2 gigs. That's a huge deal. All right. So now you can put in bigger files, which is pretty cool. Let's see here. Option to display group. Okay, changing slide with no transition should not flicker the text. That's pretty cool as well. I know that was a big deal. People have talked about it seems like it's glitching or something like that. That shouldn't be a problem anymore at all, which is great. So if I go to here, and I'm gonna go here, and I got mine set actually to a transition, so it's actually doing something there. But if I were to change this template, let's go to here, and well, I got those transitions on there. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. But yeah, so you can do that. It'll be a smoother transition, which is pretty cool for your features of the text, so it won't kind of pop in and pop out. All right. Now, let's talk about this first thing we want to talk about, whatever that is. Let's see. It is actually, it won't be this. We did the updates and stuff on Free Show and on the channel. Let's talk about Q&A from this week. So there was some questions that came up this week from our friends in the YouTube community specifically is what I'm going to be referring to mostly. So I'm going to go into my YouTube channel and let's see some of the questions that I've gotten so far this week. Let's do here. I'm going to go into my YouTube studio page and I'm just going to go to community. And I know you guys can't see this, don't worry, but I'm going to pull up something. Let's see, content type. All right. All right. So someone said just the other day, just yesterday, that they were trying to switch. So I'm going to pull up my page here so you guys can see it. We can kind of keep up. I know you guys may not see all the comments and answers, but I want to make sure we can do that. As you all have comments or questions, please make sure to put those in as well. We'll make sure to address those real time today as well. But we're going to jump into some Q&A stuff of what our partners, our friends in the community are asking. So someone said, we're trying to switch over to Free Show. We tried to play a video through the projectors, okay, which is fine. The video showed, but the audio would not play through the headphone jack to the sound system. Then it says, try playing the video through Windows Media Player, and it did fine. Please help. All right, so basically what they're saying, they've got one computer that they're using, has Free Show on it. That one computer with the Free Show plays the video, and it shows the video, but it doesn't play the audio. But if they use that same computer, remove Free Show out the equation, the audio plays just fine into their soundboard, okay? So my thought with that was to check this audio settings. Now, how do you do that? If we go back over to Free Show, if we go to our audio, in Free Show, you guys have a custom audio setting option to where you can literally have your computer set to where all the audio comes out of your headphone port. But in Free Show, you can make the audio come out of somewhere else, come out of the local speakers on the computer or something like that. By going over here, I just went to the audio tab and I went to this little icon on the bottom right, and I'm gonna cover it up with my big head there. Let's take my head out and let's see here. You hit audio settings. First of all, you got this fade, audio fade duration. So you can make your audio fade from this audio settings, which is really cool. It gives a really smooth, professional feel to your audio when you're in a live environment. People are listening to audio and it just kind of, when you stop it in Free Show, it just fades out. All right. Mute when video plays. Now this is pretty cool. If you're playing a playlist, okay, let's say you're playing, I'm trying to think about this. Like even on my Free Show Friday show, I should turn that on, but I don't want to because I don't want the audio. I got some videos that just playing audio. They're not playing any audio. The sound, the playlist is the audio on top of it. Like when I play those maps in my intro, those maps are just a video that doesn't have any audio. So I don't want the playlist that I play through Free Show to mute. I want that playlist to continue to persist. And so I don't want to turn this on. But if you're in your ministry, you only play videos that have audio, and or you don't play audio that much through Free Show in terms of from the playlist here, you can turn this on to say mute. So anytime something else is going on, it'll automatically mute. Okay, that's good. But what we want to draw attention to is this custom audio output. You literally can adjust your Free Show to go out of any output connected to your computer. All right, and I got a bunch of different stuff here. So I got this. This is actually my split extend USB adapter. If you need to have more outputs from your computer, like my computer supports 2 displays. I'm using a OREI device that has 4 additional outputs for me to use, which is really cool. And this is going to one TV behind me, and this was going to the monitor on the side of me, okay? This is my MacBook Pro speakers, which are built-in speakers. I got NDI Audio Virtual. I've got a Rode Connect. That's like an app from Rode, which is like a microphone maker. Then I got these VB cables, right? These VB cables are like virtual cables. So they're not actually here, just like Rode is a virtual thing that's on my computer. And then the Zoom device as well. But these VB cables, you guys can get those. Those are completely free, but they ask you for a donation, so you can give a donation or you can still download them for free. But they allow you to record your screen easily, right? They can allow you to record your screen audio and just point your audio microphone to be one of the VB cables. So now it's going to pick up the audio from the computer if you make that be the audio input, so it's all kind of fun stuff. But I've got all that. And what I'm guessing is happening is this particular question is that one of these is set up, right? Now you can turn it to none, no custom audio output. So now if I do intro songs, no new beats, I did my, there we go, no, live stream intro. I made them shortened, all right? So if I select this, let's see what happens. So I still can hear it through my computer speakers, okay? And you guys can hear that as well. So let me stop it. All right, and it just fades out. That's that little 4-second fade. So it fades out, but if I wanted to make it come out of somewhere else when it's playing through here, that's fine. But the reason it's coming out of my speakers is because my audio up here is set to play through my MacBook speakers with that same option here, right? So if I were to change this, let's say I want this to come out of, we'll do one of my monitors or my TVs behind me, all right? And let's see, I don't know which one that is. Let me see if it's this one. Nope. That one's set to mute. Okay. So let's see if it's this one behind me. I don't know. We'll see. But it's going to play some audio. Okay. So my custom audio output is set to none. So I'm going to play that same song. Let's see where it's coming from. So it's coming out of here, out of my monitor over there. All right. Oh, you guys can't see me. But it's coming out of the monitor over there. It's not coming out of my speakers here. All right. That's because I set my computer to do that, to send the audio to there. But I'm going to pause it. What I want to do is I want the audio that plays through FreeShow to not come out of that monitor back there. I want it to come out of my speakers. So I can go here and I can select MacBook Pro speakers. All right. Now, everything that I play through FreeShow, this should play on my MacBook speakers now. And there it is. So it's playing through my MacBook speakers, and I just paused it. But my computer is set for the audio to come out of that monitor that's connected to it, okay? So it's the same way if you had headphones plugged into your computer. Your computer might be set to have the headphone audio coming out and going into your soundboard. That's your computer setting. For me on my MacBook is at the top here, and it's under the audio, okay? So that drop down is there. But that still can be very different than what you have in FreeShow. And so you want to check this out to make sure. And what you can do is if you want it to be the same, just go up and just select none. All right. And then there's no custom audio output. Okay. That's a long answer to a short question, but I wanted to give you guys a little bit of color to understand what that is about. Okay. Because you might run into that. Okay. So let's go back out. Let's see here. So here's another one. Someone says, I'm on a Linux. Not sure what I'm doing wrong, but when I add scriptures, they are grouped together like 1 through 3. And then 4 through 6, etc. I would like to be able to go through them separately and have them in the show. And that one I can understand. Let's see here. There's one replies, and I just said, which version of FreeShow are you using? I haven't got a reply back from them yet of that. I don't think. No, I don't see anything yet on that. But here's the reason why I asked. It goes back to our first thoughts that Steve was running into, right? In terms of if there is a issue with your scriptures, okay, where they're kind of all bulked up and showing up together. For one, it may just be showing up like that over here, okay? So even if I were to click here, let's see, if I did this here, let's say I want to select a bunch of these. It's not going to, even like if you select a bunch of these, it's going to show a bunch of them all bundled up over there. But what they're running into is that it's showing like all the scriptures together, and I'm guessing what is disconnected is split reference, right? So I can turn it off, and then this might be set to something else. Let me see what their thought was. They said that the scriptures are grouped together 1 through 3, 4 through 6. I would like to be able to go through them separately and have them in the show. Okay. My guess here is that this is set to 3. Okay. And so that's the default, 3 verses per slide. And I just hit refresh to set it back to the default. What you want to do is change this option. This is in the convert show window as it is right now. This is the old convert show options. So if you have an older version than the beta right now, this is what you would see when you go to that setting for convert show at the bottom right. You can go down and make that be one verse per slide and then split the reference. All right. Splitting the reference means when you make that one verse be on that one slide, it's going to show that one verse reference on that one slide. And then the next slide is going to show the next verse reference in terms of verse 1. Then you go to verse 2, it's going to say verse 2 on that slide. All right. So that's the solution for that question. Let's see. We got a comment here. Let's see here. First time live, just wading into free show. That's a good thing. Nothing wrong with that. From I'm guessing PP is Pro Presenter. Confirm that for me. Where we use an NDI camera input and use Pro Presenter to switch between cameras. All right. And then from what I found, NDI input is not an option. Is it coming? All right. So let's talk about this question from Kathy 4986. Kathy Craft Kathy. That's a pretty cool name. All right. Let's talk about this. We're going to go to our media tab for one. And the question was, are NDI, okay, yeah, Pro Presenter, perfect. Is NDI input an option in FreeShow? The answer to that is yes. So if I go to my cameras here, you should see, and I don't have any NDI, like I don't have any NDI cameras, Kathy Craft. Okay, so it's Jim. So Jim, nice. Thank you for clarifying that. But Jim, so I don't have any cameras that are NDI, but if I go to screens, you'll see this option here for NDI. All right. And this is where you can see, like, I'm trying to think about if I had a I don't have any NDI cameras. Let me see. I'm gonna turn on my NDI HX on here on my smartphone. So I'm gonna do the camera. All right. So I'm gonna turn it on. All right. So I got my NDI camera on here. My camera itself is kind of dirty, but let's see where it comes up. All right. So I got my camera here, and I'm just trying to verify what we're talking about here. So I'm gonna turn this to where you guys can see something different. All right. And boom. So my NDI camera is showing up, and it just says Gary's iPhone. Well, no, that's not NDI. Let me go back here. That's just because I got my camera connected. So I'm gonna go back to NDI. There we go. So the NDI camera will show up if you go into media and go to screens. All right. And so my NDI camera is the iPhone 939C3. So I can select that and it can become my output in the background here. All right. So you guys can see, I'm just showing you my my setup there. That's my tablet. It's got verses in the background, which is hilarious. And then this is my setup behind me. This is my G85 camera, I believe it is, with my Rode mic. That's what I use for work. And this is my screen. So this is the camera, right? So this is a NDI camera. This is my soundboard over here. You guys can see that set up there. Not the best quality. Not that could be because of my phone. Let me see. If I go here, settings. I haven't used this in a while, you guys. No, the resolution is high. All right. So it says some settings can't be changed. But that's just a network thing, right? This is not a hardwired connection. This is a wireless connection with my cell phone. So that's why it looks kind of, I say flaky, but it's just not quality. On my phone, it looks great. But wirelessly being transmitted is not going to be the best, right? So you want to be mindful of that. So yes, you can import those NDI cameras. That's what I wanted to make sure we talked about. And the way you do that, Jim, is to go into your media tab and then select screens. I know it doesn't sound very intuitive because you're trying to connect the camera and we got a camera option. The camera option is really designed for any cameras that are hardwired to your computer. Like for this is my FaceTime camera. This is my iPhone camera. So that would be a better way to get a camera in if you're using the phone, because that picture quality actually coming at least through iPhone to an Apple. It's like I got an Apple phone and an Apple computer and they're using the same thing. It looks a whole lot cleaner than even NDI does. And I don't know what kind of magic Apple does, but if I do those same settings and go into the same features, you'll see there's a lot more quality here just with that simple connection there. And that's still wireless. And I'm not sure. So it says connected to Gary's MacBook Pro, you can disconnect to remove this iPhone from the Mac camera list. So it's on the Mac camera list because of, I'm guessing because I'm sharing the same account. I don't know. But that's a really cool feature that, you can use. All right. Now, totally up to you. If you have hardwired cameras though, it should look clean, but you're going to go to the screens option and you're going to see your regular screens here. You're going to see your windows here that are on your computer, and then you'll see NDI, and that's where all your NDI inputs will be visible. Okay. So I could easily turn on like this is actually my output active right now. Let me see. I thought I turned that off. Let me turn this off. So I'm gonna turn that off right there. So all you do is select one, it'll automatically go into your background. All right. Trying to set up FreeShow on my computer at home and have it at church. Okay, let me make sure I'm following what you asked. Okay. My NDI camera doesn't show. Okay. Hi Gary, I'm using 155 beta. Okay, so going back to Jim, let me see. Okay, I'll check that. Thanks. Can you just run those steps one more time? I think I did for you, Jim. Let me know if that makes sense. Basically, you're going to go to your media tab and you're going to select the option that says screens. And then you're going to see a series of options here along the top, like top tabs. You're going to select the one that says NDI. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's go back to see what else we got. I'm going to go back up. Great question, by the way. Hi, Gary. I'm using 155 beta. Okay. Could you show us how to sync media or give us a best practice on how to do this? I'm trying to set up FreeShow on my computer at home and have it ready at church. Oh my goodness. Mr. Terry Ray 1. I've been playing with this weekend, or this week, I should say. It's crazy. It's good. It's good. But here's what I can tell you. I can't really walk you through it real time because it's pretty complex. I got to find my mouse, you guys. Hold on. I'm sorry. I don't know where it is. Goodness. Oh, there it is. Okay, so it's over there. Let me bring it over. I got it on some screens. All right, there we go. I got screens all behind me and around and all this, so I got discombobulated. But the idea is you want to go into your settings up here and you use the Google API sync. So you would go to the files option in the settings, and it's the Google API service account key that you would need, but you don't naturally have one of those. You've got to create a Google API key. As long as you have any Gmail account, you can do this. It's completely free, but it's a step-by-step process. So you want to select this. It says click here for the guide. Now, you literally just follow this to the T. All right. And it says something. You got to sign into the developer console. And it says, don't worry if you're not a developer. You're going to feel like you are a developer. All right. First, you need to create your own Google developer. And it gives you a link here. So you select that, create that. And it literally just walks you through step by step. You would do this one time. All right. You just do this one time. Do it on your home computer or something like that, where you got some space and some time to really sit down, get you some popcorn or something, and just focus in on what's going on. I didn't make a video on this because I didn't feel safe doing it because I used an account that was important to me. What I might do is I might do this and make it on a Gmail account that is not that important. I just didn't want to divulge that information because I didn't feel safe because it was like I was doing developer stuff. And I was like, if somebody sees this, it is a developer, they might be able to hack something. I didn't want to do that. I just seen a video about a YouTuber getting hacked and all this. So I was like, man, I'm going to be careful. But it literally just walks you through creating the key. All right. Now, it says you have to give access to the folder in Google Drive where you want all the files to be uploaded, all that stuff. It just walks you through the whole thing. Important in the FreeShow. All right. Then it says go to here, click import keys file and select the file. The file is going to be like a text document or a JSON document or something like that on your computer. So it's not like a key code you just type in like a password. It's literally a file that you would select this option that says Google API service account, and you're importing the key, and it brings you to you got to find it on your computer. Okay. It's going to be a file saved on your computer. All right. Now, what ends up happening is when you do that, it gives you an option to say, do you want to upload the content from this computer to the cloud so that when you get to your computer at church, it'll automatically download and sync up? Or do you want to download some stuff from another computer or this already set up on the cloud? Right. So it's a really cool feature. It works seamlessly. Check it out. And it does bring in all of your content, which is crazy. Like I've literally played with it and it works great. All right. Okay. Arthur Sharp says, I'm good. It looks fine. What did I say? What did I say, Arthur? Looking forward. My first live. Oh, first live, actually live. I can't remember what I said, Arthur, when you said that. So I appreciate you saying that I'm good and it looks fine. Oh, maybe about that choppy video is my guess. Let's see here. Jim says, I'll check that out. Okay. Arthur, continuity feature in Apple. Got you. That makes sense. So that was the continuity feature in Apple. I was saying that it looks super clean. Arthur Sharp knows something about it. He can speak to it and give it some authority that that's a continuity feature in Apple that is really sweet. So if you're looking for an extra camera in your church, you got a smaller ministry, iPhones can be the stuff as long as they're in that continuity feature, however that works. Let's see here. SBU Media, Sabusi So says to Jim, also check your firewall if you're using Windows. Good note. Thank you for that because I don't use Windows, so that's important. Don't get popcorn grease on your keyboard. You got to get you some, what's it called? Not Simple Pop. It's the, oh man, it's the popcorn that just got a little bit of salt on it. It's not Easy Pop. What's it called? I forgot, but it's one of my favorite. It's like in a white bag in America, at least. I don't know what it's. Simple Pop, Easy Pop, Smart, Skinny Pop. That I think that's what it's called. Skinny Pop, popcorn, something like that. No grease, no grease. All right. Terry Ray, Gary, I've synced this setting via API, but this doesn't sync media files. It didn't sync your media files. Okay, so here's the deal. I think with your media files, with your media files, because mine did sync media files, but I'm trying to think, is it because I already had those media files on both computers? You may need to get your media files on the other computer, maybe through a thumb drive or something like that, or you could possibly have those media files like on a shared drive, potentially. I haven't tested that out, so don't take my word for it, but you could put them like on a Google Drive file and put that on both computers as well, or on a Dropbox folder on your computer, because Google Drive, you can have a folder on your computer. That's why I'm saying that. And save all your media files there, and then they can point to those, and it'll try to find it pretty easily based on where it originally derived from. And so that's one way to have that media file content in this, in the same folder on both computers, if that makes sense. Okay. So sorry about that. Mr. Terry Ray, I'm trying to think about when I tested it out, why it brought all that in. Now, the only reason I can think is that it had all the same files because I shared the same files basically on both computers. So it could have been that point was the issue. So forgive me if it doesn't do that, but I thought it did. But like I said, it could have just been the way I had my computer set up and I just didn't even realize what was going on. Okay. Great questions. Let me go back as you guys keep asking questions on your end. I'm gonna go back to the community on YouTube and answer some more of those questions. Somebody said, I don't see the next slide action in the latest free show anymore. Next slide. Excuse me. So they're referring to different videos on here. I didn't mention that. I'm sorry. And so this was one day ago. They were looking at Free Show Friday. They left a comment there. This one was on the basic beginner setup when it was talking about the grouping of the scriptures and things like that. This one is about actions being your best friend. That's a video I made. Actions are your best friend. They're talking about the next slide action. Okay. So I had a whole video all about these actions. So this automation feature in Free Show, which is unbelievable. If you have not utilized actions or dove into them, check out that video because it kind of opens, like I said, which is my goal, to open your idea in your mind to some ideas of how to use this that you can at least keep in your back pocket to say, I like that. I think I'm gonna try that one day. Okay. But if you go to your functions and we select actions, all right. Now, when you're doing an action, I got a bunch of them here. I got way too many actions in here I'm almost ashamed of all these actions because I don't use them, but I do so much training. I just keep them in there, right? So I'm going to go down to one of these that says training. It says, test action. It's a test. All right. So I'm going to right click on this and select edit. For you though, you would typically go down and select new action if you don't have any, but I'm gonna go to edit just to let you see what's going on in this option. So you would give it a name. I'm gonna call it test action. I'm gonna put in the word training at the end of it. And then it gives you this option that says choose action. All right. So I never even completed this, but what that person was talking about was they were looking at this list and it says show. You can start a show. You can clear out things, clear your whole background, your slides, overlays. You can do an action that starts a certain camera. You can do an action that changes an output style, changes your audio playlist. or starts a playlist, not change it. I guess it would change it though. If there's one playing and you select that, it will change it to that one that you want to start. So yes. And they didn't see this one that says next slide, which it was in that video. Okay. And now you guys have to keep in mind when I make the videos, they're on whatever current version I'm using at that time. And as things evolve and develop, the settings might change and look different. And this is one of those instances where it changed and it looks a little bit different now in the latest versions of FreeShow. You now have this eyeball option because what was done here by the development team is they've made it to where this is the most used settings that are not intimidating, most used actions, keeping it simple that most people will likely want to see. Okay, so they did that and put that in there. But when I first started using FreeShow a year ago, there was a whole list of a whole lot of other actions here. If you hit this little eyeball, you'll see all the other ones. And there's a whole another section here called show that was not showing up. That this is where, no, this is not it. But the show in this slide wasn't there. I'm sorry, that's the one. So this is where you see next slide, previous slide, play slide at index, play slide with name, play slide, play specific group, play slide recording. You can do all kinds of not crazy, but cool stuff. But the list just got super long. Okay. And this is what used to be there. And they were like, this is kind of intimidating. So they shrunk it down. So you can go back and it'll go to that shrink down list or shrunken list. But you can also expand that. If you hover over it, it says more options. And it just opens up the full list of all these actions. And so if you're on a newer version, you got to expand that list. Okay. So Mr. Terry says, thanks. I'll use Google Drive to sync media files. Yeah, that would be my best suggestion. And then basically, get that same Google Drive account on both computers and point them to the same folder. Install the the actual program onto your computer. Okay. So next slide is here. It's still there. Never went anywhere. It just got saved to a different option setting in the program so that it's not that often used or found to be not that important on the grand scheme of things in terms of regular usage. But for those who are, I'm gonna call you guys like power users or more intermediate to advanced users, you can find it here. And this is a really cool feature, especially like if you want to like make a slide that takes you back to another slide for like a game show setup or something like that. That would be kind of cool. But yeah, that's pretty cool. All right. Or if you, like that would be it too. You can just make it be a button or just make it be there available for you while you're navigating the show. You can just make it to where you can go back and forth. Right. That's pretty cool. All right. And that's also if you're using like Companion or something like that, that's one of the API options in there as well. So you can easily just do it from there and just go back and forth to your previous slides as well. Okay. Let's see some other questions that came up this week. 2 days ago, an error shown in the newest distro AV in my system, not able to work. I was asking them what the error is. So distro AV, for those who don't know, distro AV is something that you use with OBS, and this is in reference to the OBS program here. Distro AV is, I say new, it's fairly new. I think it came out this year, maybe. But it used to just be NDI tool or something like that in OBS to get NDI. But now you got to use distro AV to get NDI. It's a whole thing, but there's a couple steps you got to take. And so, yeah, I wish I can help them more with this, but it really depends on what the errors they're saying, because there was like this other program you got to download called a runtime thing or something like that on a Mac. At least that was what I had to do. And it was pretty confusing for me too. So you just look into that distro AV website and get a better idea of exactly what you need to do. All right. Where can I find recorded live output saved? All right. So this was related to recording and easily replaying a show. So you can like record your strokes in terms of the timing that you had to record it, like pre-record your show timing. This is helpful like if you're doing like I don't know, like a lyric video or like you're playing a CD. Maybe is the best way I can describe it. You're playing from a music file for your live worship or your time in the sanctuary. You can basically, you can sync that file by just dragging it onto the first slide in your show. And I don't have any music shows in here, so let me bring in a music show or a song show. So here's Firm Foundation, okay? If I wanted to record this, and you guys can go back and look at that video, okay? So I'm not going to go over the whole process, but this is about easily record and replay your shows. And if I wanted to record this, I would go over here to this settings on the right side, little notes, and then you'll see this option that says recording. You would start recording, and then it does that. And then when you're done recording, it actually saves to this first slide here on the show. Okay. You can take it off of there, but I believe it still saves it. And then you can also just make an action for it. We saw that in the actions options here. If I go back to that test action I was working on, and we have here for slide, I'm in my expanded view. I can say play a slide recording, right? So I can select that, and then pops up. I don't think I have any slide recordings, but it'll be an action you can put on there as well. If there's a slide recording that you've made, it'll play it. All right. So you can do that. I don't want that to be there, but it's all good. All right. So that's how that action would work. It should default to being on your first slide already, but your recordings will be saved here, right? Record and replay the timing of the slides, sync with an audio track on the first slide. That's basically what it's saying to do. And you just start recording, okay? Check out the video for more details on how to do that though, okay? Let's see here. What else we got? This was a big deal. So Sabusi Sue said, I don't know if it's only me, but when I'm typing something on the text box, the cursor moves left after typing my first letter on a new line. And I'm using version 1.5.4. So 1.5.4 was the latest full version. It still is the latest full version, right? And what was going on was if I were to go, I'm gonna make a new show real quick. If I were to make a new show, and I'm gonna just call this training. We'll call it the cursor. I don't know what else it's called. It's probably something else. I'm going to training cursor error, and I'm going to call this training test as my category, just to organize it. And I do empty show, and I say new slide. It'll bring me into my slide edit view, which you'll see here. We're in the edit page, and I add a new text box. When I would type, I wanted to type the word what, I would type WH, but by the time I got to the H, the cursor would be over here, and it would be like that every time. And this is what Sabusi Sue was talking about as well. I literally remember seeing that, but I type so few and far between in my slides. I just chopped it up to where maybe it was a computer error or a user error, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. I remember having that issue. I never reported it. But when he made that comment, I went back to test it out again, and I was like, yep, it's doing it for me too. And we submitted the ticket for it, and in 155, it has been corrected, as you can see. So now when I type, I can type WHAT, and it's not a big deal. I can hit enter down, same thing, and all that is all going in the order that it's supposed to. The cursor doesn't jump around. So that issue has been resolved. Sabusi Sue, I thank you for reminding me of that error. I just chalked it up and just ignored it because I just thought it was user error like me, doing something. All right. So that has been resolved. Let's see here. Mr. Terry Ray says, I had the same issue. I had to copy the original set of backup files to my Google Drive. Then FreeShow has something to sync to. Oh, I had to copy the original set of the backup files to my Google Drive. Okay. So, oh, that's T Hooper. Okay, T Hooper, tell me real quick. When you say you had to copy the original set of backup files to the Google Drive, are you talking about in that backup API Google Drive, or are you talking about a separate Google Drive that's just a whole separate sync up menu, or did you sync it up in there with the media on that Google API account Google Drive folder for FreeShow specifically? Does that make sense? Let me know. Had to copy the original set of backup files, which makes sense. Either way, I'm just curious so we can make sure that that's clear. Okay. Thanks for sharing that too, T Hooper. Let's see here. Replay. We got that. Okay. Editing a slide. Okay. I talked to them about that. That's good. And that's been submitted. That's been corrected. So 5 days ago, we're in a small church and we're paying thousands of dollars for an app we can't afford. And you enlightened us with this beautiful blessing. Thank you again. This is a big thanks to Christopher for doing that. It says, can we use the same or similar feature to find songs from the song list? And so this person was asking, this is Franklin Membrino, 8336. They were asking about this Find Verses Fast and FreeShow. This is a video that if you're looking for a quick way to search for your verses, this is the best video I believe that's out right now that I've got that talks about that. But they were saying, is there a quick way to find verses or songs. I'm sorry. And so I was telling them you can do a search for songs from the right search bar. And then I probably should correct that. It just says S glad. I should say so glad. That's what I wanted to say. That your ministry is blessed by Free Show. So I'm gonna save that, which is a huge deal. They were spending $1,000 for an app they can't afford, and now they don't have to spend that money. That is the mission, the drive, the vision of Free Show and all of church apps or B1 Church apps that they have is to do that. So awesome, awesome, awesome. If I go back in to their question related to searching for scripture, is what that video is about. And I was talking about you can do a quick search here, you can do a search here. But for songs, if I go to my shows, this is where all your songs are found, right? So if you go to the songs category, you can do a search for the word the, and it'll pull up any song that has the word the in it. But in this case, it put the one with the at the very beginning at the top. So I can do that. But if I do a search for loves me, it pulls up Jesus loves me. And it's doing a search for the titles, but also throughout the show, right? So if I type in glory, you'll see this one has it in the title for your glory, but this says just want to praise you. It's saying the word glory is in that particular song, right? If I want to, I can just press enter to automatically populate this show. So if I hit enter, it brings me into Tasha Cobbs. All right. This one actually has a recording. This is what that recording would look like if you recorded a show. And it would be there. It'll just say play slide recording. Okay. Let's see here. See what we got. Questions or comments. So T Hooper's commenting. Thank you for that. They said, I made a backup of my free show files. Then I uploaded them to my Google Drive. The API automatically recognized the files and I was able to sync from one device to another. I hope that makes sense. Sweet, sweet, sweet. And I think the real question is, who asked that originally? Mr. Terry Ray. Tell us if that makes sense to you. That's the most important thing, okay? Let's see here. Erxio says, Gary, is it possible to add another output other than the main on stage layouts? Ooh, that's a good question. Let's see. Another output. So if I go to stage and Erxio, tell me this. Another output other than the main on the stage output. On the stage layouts, I'm sorry. Two things come to mind. First of all, let's see. This is current slide. Let me see what I'm like, why does my current slide? So I do have this showing a bunch of different stuff on there. How did I do that? I don't know how I did that. What is this playing? If I go to scripture, oh, it's just all that. So that all came through. Interesting. Okay. I didn't know I could do that. Okay, sorry. Stage layouts. Erxio, tell me this. Are you talking about just the text or the actual output window? That's the question I got for you. Text or output window. If I go here, here's the deal. The reason I asked that, because you can change the source output here. Okay, and I did that real fast. Let me go back out. If I go back to show, go to stage, we're in the stage layout. I'm gonna go to one that I don't use much. This is one I don't use much. So we're gonna say here and here. I don't even know what these are. So I'm gonna go to this little caret arrow here on the right side for more options. All right. I was gonna ask you this exact question. Perfect. So, Mr. Terry Ray, does that answer your question? That's the main thing. This is awesome. I love that you guys are giving some feedback to each other. Okay. Let me turn on my show labels. All right. So I got current slide here. It is not showing anything, but I got a different source output. See that? So I can change this. So I can say output is here for this output, or I can make it be my primary output, and it's there as well. Now, the funny thing is I don't have anything going out of that source output, so it's not doing anything. But if I had maybe a slide that has a specific, let me take that back. Let me do this. I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna go to output one. Output one is like my live stream. What I'm thinking is the question, Erxio, is that are you talking about having the item output window be there? And if so, that's how you would change it. So the output window now is showing my live stream. Okay. But if I change this source, to primary, you'll see now that my output window is showing my primary, but I can also just change it back to be my output window, which doesn't have any slide text. And so I think that's what you're talking about. Output window is what you said. So, okay. Yeah, you said, okay, output window. So yes, you would go over to the little arrow to the right for more options and then just change the source. You would select this and you just change the source. Like I said, because I'm on the output window, items, options. You want to go to the options. It won't show up automatically. It's going to be a little arrow, little one of them things pointing out to the side. Select that and then pick the output here. So I can make it go away and it defaults to that primary, right? Whatever the first output you got here is going to default to that. And I put a 1 in front of my primary. This is a pro tip for your settings, right? For your outputs, they're gonna, whatever the first one is on this list is gonna be the one that's gonna show up first on your previews and all that kind of stuff. And you can change the color by right clicking, but I like to edit mines and rename them, and I like to put them in the order I want to see them up in my preview. So I put a 1 in front of this and a dash. This one I didn't really care, but I can make this one be, I can rename it and call it training. No, I'm gonna call it live stream. And I can put a 2 in front of it. 2 dash, all right? Hit enter, and that's there, okay? Now that's what it is in here, but now notice that my NDI name did not, well, let me see. Did my NDI, yeah, my NDI name, it did change. It changed to 2 live, but I wonder if it'll update here. Let's see if I change this to, yeah, it's still, OBS is still reading it, even though I just changed the name, which is cool, all right? So that's a pro tip to change your outputs, but going back to the stage, we hit this little, I select this, and I go to that little arrow over there, you'll see the source outputs. And then the output window actually shows it here too. So the output window, you can hit that same option. You can do it here just for the output window if you wanted to. So let's see something. I'm gonna see if I can make 2 output windows. If I go to items and I select the output window, this one can have this, and this one can have that. Yeah, so it's pretty simple. You don't even have to go through all that extra stuff that I did. Erxio, you can just go to the output window setting when you, so like when you select this, like this is my current slide text, it's going to show the text box info, right? When I select the output window that I added in, it's going to show the output window. You just pick this option to pick the source. I went through a long roundabout way to show the options here is actually for the entirety of all of your current slide text. But if you just select your output window and pick this first option for output window, you can pick individually. So I've got the output window for my primary here, and I got the output window for my live stream here. You can differentiate the two. All right. Just a side note, with 155, the beta, output windows used to slow my computer down. And I got a MacBook Pro M1 Pro 16-inch, and it's pretty powerful. It works completely fine for everything I needed to do. But I noticed it lagged quite a bit when I would use output window in my stage display. So I just always took them off. I would just delete them, never use them. I banned them out of my vocabulary. I would never recommend them and all that good stuff. But when I was testing this out last night, it is quite snappy still, even with the output window active. So I reached out to the developer, Christopher, and he was saying that he does some optimizations pretty regularly in terms of trying to figure out ways to make it all seamless and work a lot smoother. So kudos to Christopher for making even output windows flow even smoother on my computer. Your mileage may vary. I got a graphics processor in this computer, GPU, that's pretty good. And then I also have a decent CPU, I guess, in terms of the M1 chip is pretty decent. So keep that in mind that it is getting better. If you banned yourself like I did from using output windows in your stage, you don't have to ban yourself anymore. All right. So Mr. Terry Ray is saying, so did he upload the backup to the API folder or another drive? I didn't understand his answer. That's a good question. I was going to make sure. So T Hooper said, I made a backup of my FreeShow files. Got it. Made the backup. Then I uploaded them to my Google Drive. Okay. The API automatically recognized the files and I was able to sync them from one device to another. So T Hooper, let us know. Were those files, that backup drive, the backup of your FreeShow files, did you put them onto the API like folder that it makes? Because I think it makes a folder for you right? Did you put that backup into there, or did you just put it into a totally separate Google Drive account, for example, and you just synced them up on the computers and had a Google Drive account on one account with the program installed, not the API, but the actual Google Drive program download for your computer on both computers, and it just synced up? Or was it did you upload that backup into your API Google Drive account? Okay. Let us know. We're curious. That's the T Hooper. Let us know. Because I was unclear, but I was like, Mr. Terry Ray, if you clear on it, I'm good. I don't have to understand it because I'm not doing it too much. Like I said, I thought it was working just fine because what I was doing works perfectly fine for the way I was doing it. But I get that that's not going to work for everybody because I was doing some unique stuff. All right. Man, oh man, what time is it? It's 12:22, you guys. I haven't ate all day. My stomach is making sure that I eat, so I need to eat. But what other questions do you guys have for me? This has been unbelievable. Unbelievable. I enjoyed my time with you guys today. I'm trying to think if I had anything. Let's see. We went through quite a few of these questions. Connected to projectile, but it becomes really choppy. For this one, I was asking them for more details. This was 7 days ago. They were talking about video codecs. Any idea what might cause this? So to this person, playing the video up to the projector, they said, why does my video in FreeShow lag whenever I'm playing it through the projector and OBS? It plays smoothly on my laptop, but once I connect it to the projector and OBS, it becomes really choppy. The only thing I can think of, that could be like a CPU, GPU issue where your computer just trying to process it all. I was going to say it could be this issue where you might have a stage display. You didn't mention anything about a stage display, so I wouldn't recommend or say that because mine was choppy without any outputs and the stage display was just on. It was just choppy. So I was going to put another answer in here, but that's not true. Let's see here. T Hooper, all right, T Hooper, thank you. Uploaded the backup files into the API folder. Yes, thank you. That makes a lot of sense, T Hooper. Thank you for sharing that. She told us that she shared it that way. So that's important, Terry, Mr. Terry Ray. So she put it into the API folder that was created through that walkthrough process in here. Okay. So you'll see that folder being created, or you've already created it, obviously. So you would put it into that folder. Okay. Great, great, great stuff. That's good to know. Good to know. I'm sure you're not going to be the last person to ask about that one, Mr. Terry Ray, and I'll make sure to explain that to other partners as well. All right. Well, you guys have a great rest of the day and a blessed weekend. I'm just excited. I really enjoyed this meeting today. Hopefully you guys got some good stuff out of it. I was going to do something about start actions. I sent an email about it. I'll briefly touch on it, but I'll do some more about it later on just because I want to make sure I can commit some energy to it. But start actions are something that are really powerful that I think we don't take advantage of enough. And so let me see here. Where we at? Okay. So we're not doing too bad. I was looking to see if everybody's dropping off or not. But so start actions real quick. If you right click on any slide, right? I'm on a music or song slide. If you right click on it, you got this option that says slide actions. I'm sorry, not start actions, but slide actions. And then you got this start action option. But I'm really talking about slide actions overall. All these different options here for your slide, you can set that up. Now, the reason why this is important to me is for the way that you set up your show. Some people like to set up their show or their project, very traditionally, right? For me, I'm open to either way that makes sense to where you might have media. So I'm gonna go to my Bible project videos. I'm just gonna do this and I'll pull in the Sabbath. So I'm gonna drag that over here. I'll put it into my project. So I got For Your Glory and I can arrow through that. And when I get done, it takes me into the Bible project preview. The audience is still seeing the last slide For Your Glory. I can hit this play button or the arrow button again on my computer and it'll pop this video up. This is a very traditional way to organize your content, and you can make headers and sections or whatnot. So I can say new section. I just right clicked it and I'm gonna say videos and I'll put this Sabbath one inside of there. So now I got that and I'll make it be a different color. We'll make it be yellow. And so this is a very traditional way to organize your projects. However, cool feature, fun fact, you could put this all together on the same show if you wanted to. I can drag this in and put this video in as a slide on this show. Now, After that, I might want to put in another slide. So I might right click in here and I want to put in a new slide, and it comes in at the end. And I want this slide. I'm going to change the way I edit this just so I can make it type in exactly where I want, what I want. I want this slide. Oh, there's no text boxes in there, so I can't do that right away. But I'll edit. I'll add a text box. And I want this to say, we'll say offering. Right after this video, we'll make it say offering. All right, so I go to show. All right, so I got this offering slide. I got that. I'm going to change my view back to the default. All right, so now here's the deal. I got this song. I got this video. I want the audio to be heard, and I don't want it to loop. But I can right click on this video, go to slide actions, and I can say, go to the next slide when the video is finished. All right. That's a slide action that is really cool. And so what you can do is you can make your slides be on the same show. Videos, graphics, songs. Don't recommend it that way, but you can, especially if you're not doing songs. Let's say you're just doing like a presentation. You got images and videos in that presentation. You can put them all in the same show and then make a slide action to automatically go to the next slide once the video is over. And it doesn't just sit there on a blank screen. It'll automatically go to this slide. Okay, so that's one of the tips that I've been talking about or thinking about, but there'll be a whole video about slide actions to really break down some ways you can use them. Until then, like, I'm taking Mr. Terry Ray's advice to go get some lunch. All right, so you guys have a great rest of the day. Hopefully this was a blessing to you all. Thank you so much for being a part of the community. Keep asking questions, keep learning, and keep telling other people about Free Show, because I think this is a hidden gem. There are 20,000 churches all over the world that are using it, and it's still hidden because there's billions of people, right? And our goal with this, to me, the biggest goal for me using this program is to really help share the gospel, making sure that people can access the Bible and see it for themselves. Part of the reason was so that people aren't manipulated, right? Because people can make and twist words and things like that. But with software like this, we can put the scriptures up so everybody can see the same thing and everybody can read it together, which is great. Okay, so I love that. And then it's good to have your own Bible as well. Don't get it twisted. This doesn't replace you having your own physical Bible or a Bible app or something like that. But for us as a media team or media volunteer leader, we want to make sure we contribute to the furthering of the kingdom, right? The furthering of the gospel of the kingdom. And this is one way we can do that, whether it's through media, through videos, pictures, or scriptures, or songs. We play a pivotal part in that. And this program really helps us do that seamlessly. So I love Free Show for that. So keep asking questions, you guys, and keep learning. I appreciate you all. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you for watching this video. I really hope it helped you in a major way. Now, at this point, most people would ask you to like and subscribe, and I think that's great, but my goal is a little bit different. My goal is to empower as many people as possible all over the globe. And there's one way that you can really help me do that, and that is to leave a comment below with a question, a thought, how this video may have helped you, or things that were left out that you still have questions about, and to share this video with someone just like you, someone who is looking for answers, someone who's curious and wants to grow. With your help, I believe we can build a community of people that want to grow together. So until next time, God bless.